Hi, so today I'm very excited because we are doing a get ready with me style of video. I love those. I'm so excited to do this. So the reason we are doing this video is because I'm going out to meet family, and I know the question that will inadvertently come up is, when are you going to get an on-site job? I'm a freelancer who works mainly with sustainable companies. So the thing is, they don't really get that. They don't understand why I want to work with, say, the company who's currently under fire for using kangaroo leather to make their products, even if they pay me a lot, because the idea is, well, the money is coming to you. And that's actually not something that, I mean, yeah, the money is coming to me. And yes, the argument could be made that I would take the money from that company and use it to be sustainable and live a sustainable life. Right. But there are also sustainable companies out there which probably can't pay me as much, maybe, but which are actually doing work that suits my soul, and I would rather work with them. And the thing is, sustainability and working with low waste companies isn't exactly rewarded in our current system, because the system is built to promote hyper consumerism. It's built to tell us that we are only as much worth as we spend on items. It's built to promote material items, material possessions. Isabel Durry, in her recent newsletter, tackled this very well, that it makes us feel like we're worth less because we don't want to consume as much. Right? And existing in this system, a lot of us, despite being environmentalists, might not be able to have green jobs, which is all right. What? How is that all right? Like, I can hear people asking me that. And I'm going to tell you what Rachel Lawson told me, what this creator on Instagram called Lauren says in her videos, is that we need environmentalists in non-environmental field to promote the theory, the ideas of environmentalism. If all environmentalists just worked in areas which are already doing green work, then we leave this huge sector where we could actually come up with innovation to fight climate change, to tackle the climate crisis. And it's not happening because no one there is passionate about this. And there's also the fact that it's not as easy as saying, hey, quit your job, start working a green job. Like, we have heard this a million times. There's no ethical consumerism or consumption under capitalism. But it doesn't soothe our souls, right? And yet, we have to understand that if we love a place, if it's inclusive, diverse, or if it's paying the bills and we don't have the option to move, it's all right to stay in that job. Obviously, some jobs are just bad, but most jobs fall in this thing called the gray area, as my therapist calls it. And you can advocate for sustainability there. You could be the reason a company which did not think about CSR or sustainability actually starts a social initiative. For example, I'll tell you, yesterday I was talking to Rochelle Dabra, Willing to Digital, and we were thinking about what to do. And I gave her the idea that, hey, let's start an impact page. Let's tell people exactly what Willing to Digital is doing beyond the genuine services that we offer. How are we helping the environment? How are we helping other people? And I feel that's a great way to ask companies to hold themselves accountable, because they have to show what they are doing to the consumers, to people who are taking their services or buying their products, right? And that gives us information to actually make informed choices about which companies and brands we want to get behind, which align with our values. I'm vegan. I would never buy from a company that is using meat, for example. But someone else might if they are doing great work in fighting world hunger. Really, the point of this video is, not all of us can find sustainable jobs. Not all of us are in a place to leave our jobs and go to a sustainable job. And maybe some of us love our current jobs and we would like to be sustainable in that position. And is that doable? Well, I'll tell you what Rachel Lawson told me, what Lauren, the Instagram creator, has posted in a lot of her videos, what my friends, family, and therapists have been saying for ages, which is, yes, it's possible. Because we live in an imperfect world, we have the advantage of coming up with creative solutions. Let's see how. So, I'm not going to take names in this video because I don't want to come under fire. But I've worked a lot of jobs in the past 1 year, right? Some full time, some freelancing clients. And I have taken a lot of positions. Like, I've been a brand manager, I've been a blogger, I've been a content writer, I'm a YouTube creator, hopefully, right? And not all of those jobs are green. I mean, a lot of people will think, oh, Anjali won the sustainability job game. She has a small startup which makes eco-friendly books and she writes for sustainable companies. So, what's the issue? And even in her blog, she writes reviews of sustainable products and how to live a sustainable life. Well, guess what? I also do a lot of other things. And not all of those sustainable companies are actually 100% perfectly sustainable. So, before we go into this, let's look at the definition of sustainability. And also, I need to get back to getting ready because I do have a deadline. So, the definition of sustainability is that we need to meet our current needs while leaving adequate resources for future generations, right? Which means we do not harm human health, we do not harm the planet, we do not harm animals, and we have a circular system essentially. We don't have a circular system currently, it's a linear system, but that's a topic for another video. So in that case, what can we do? Well, to I'm going to make another video on how to see if a company that you're applying to is actually sustainable. But say you're working for a company which is selling sustainable products, right? Then that company, by its essence of being a marketplace, is also, if not fully, at least to an extent, promoting consumerism. That's how they make their living, after all. Or maybe they have products made of cotton, which was the case with one of my clients, right? And at first, my initial reaction was, oh my god, I'm going to leave this place. And then I spoke to my fiance and my best friend, and we sat down and we thought, wait, this company actually has a lot of good, genuinely sustainable products. They are actually trying to make a difference. They're reaching out to sustainable brands, giving them a platform. They are helping people organize on site local markets. They're doing a lot of good work, right? In such a case, is it a good idea to quit them? And there's also the fact that they were one of my bigger clients. So we sat down and thought, and the imperfect solution we came up with, which I'm very proud of, is that it's a better idea to inform the consumers that, hey, these are cotton products, they have this impact, and this is how you will need to use it to balance out that impact. And these are other products which are equally or more sustainable, and this is why cotton is better than plastic, even though plastic has its advantages. Like, and as a content creator, as a content writer, I could put all of this information on the brand's website. I felt that was a more realistic, more sustainable solution than just saying, oh, you're not perfect, I'm not going to work with you despite all the good work you do. Toodaloo. Like, that's not helping anyone, right? So there's that. And that brings me to the thing that we can all do, which is advocate, right? So when I worked with this company called Publisher Growth, they're an amazing company. If you're a blogger, you should definitely check them out, because what they do is they, how do I put it? Yeah, they help bloggers monetize their blogs, right? And I loved working with them as a writer. Empowering other writers is just great to me. It's giving back to my community. But there was also the fact that a lot of the monetizing partners put out ads using cookies, right? Which means if someone's already buying fast fashion, they're going to see fast fashion ads. Or maybe some of the bloggers we were working with weren't really sustainable. They were maybe, say, bloggers which were talking about fashion hauls. In that case, at first I was like, hey, what do I do? Do I not work? And then I was like, no, wait, I am empowering young writers. What I can do is I can reach out to them and be like, hey, the link building blog you're going to do for us, try doing it on sustainable fashion. There are several advantages to this. So, one, an audience which probably hasn't heard about sustainability hears about it from a person they trust, right? Second, a new person who maybe does not know much about sustainability, or who has probably heard about it but decided it's not for them, gets to share their views on it, which encourages discourse, right? And the best part is that, how do I put this? Because I have said empowering young writers, but the best part is we can start a conversation with young people who are at the forefront of the climate change movement, right? Instead of just being like, oh, well, you aren't perfect, I set down boundaries. I told my employer that I wouldn't be working on these certain blogs if that's all right with them. And these ones I would be working with. And this is my plan. And I spoke to them about the green initiatives we could take in Publisher Growth itself, the kind of green blogs we could put out to educate people, for example, green hosting. And doing that actually had an impact. It actually made people think more about going green, think for green initiatives, talking to people, encouraging innovation, setting boundaries, taking a stand for your values. I know those are difficult things to do. Even I couldn't do them for the longest time. And if you cannot do them, it's completely okay to go for a more sustainable job or just to stay in your current job without saying anything and being sustainable in your life. I mean, I think it was Vidhi Adhikari of Tashi Sisters who said there are a billion ways to be sustainable. Like, is this cattle sustainable? I don't know. I've had it for a very long time before I got into sustainability. So I'm going to keep using it till I run out and maybe then think about getting a sustainable alternative. But that's what I'm saying, right? That you have to make choices which work in your interest. Sustainability can't be something that is detrimental to you because you are part of the people in the planet and the people, right? You aren't actually actively harming the planet with malicious intent. And that is something that you need to consider. You need to give yourself grace. So I'll tell you one last story. Actually, two last stories because I want to emphasize one more point then that I just thought of, which is I worked with this company whose name I'm not going to take. And the thing with them was they wanted me to rate their products. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I do product reviews. And they were like, no, we have these computer generated ratings, and these are products made by artisans. They aren't getting as many eyeballs on them because they don't have ratings, even though a lot of people are buying them. And I was like, okay, that doesn't seem very honest and transparent. You claim to be a sustainable company. And they had all of this paperwork proving they were sustainable. They were very receptive to my questions on how their products are made, what the supply chain is like, and stuff like that. And they said, yes, well, actually, what happened was we got people to try and review, and they all just gave us 5-star reviews to, I guess, please them, and the government fined them, which is just like, seriously, first of all, why would you give fake reviews? And second of all, I understand why the government would think it's a scam and fine them, but it's just so bad that that had to happen. I mean, they were trying to be genuine. So now they were just using computer generated ratings. And at first I was like, hey, no, I'm not going to work with this because it's a ethical gray area. And then I thought they are helping artisans. And more importantly, they are, how do I put it? Trying to do something which is based, okay, on a computer generated rating, but which is based on people buying. It's not a fake thing. So I decided, okay, maybe I'll give it a go. I mean, it didn't work out in the end. We parted ways, but that's a different thing. So, what I'm trying to tell you here is sometimes sustainable companies might have to take some steps which aren't exactly most in line with eco friendly, ethical ideas because of the system we live in. Am I encouraging that? No. I mean, I would rather work with a completely vegan, completely eco safe, non toxic company which has great take back programs. But if a company is trying, I think that deserves some credit, right? So that was one company. And I think this philosophy of imperfect sustainability that I have shows completely in my company, Muses Saga. But what we do is we make books on recycled paper, upcycled paper, and we tried using eco inks first. But the thing was in print on demand, eco inks just weren't available, right? And we figured out that it would take more resources to get eco ink for print on demand than it would be to use digital printing and everyday newspaper ink, which also is kind of green. I mean, it depends on the printer to printer. And we worked with local printers. Like, literally, there's a print shop across the street from my house where I go to get the books made, right? And I felt like that was a much better solution than generating waste, printing hundreds of copies which are not going to be sold. I mean, I could give them to the library, but that just wasn't financially viable for us. And even then, why make something which people aren't going to read? Because there's no guarantee that people would read them in the library. We don't want books to sit there and gather dust. So we decided to go with the digital printing option, right? And the the same thing happened with our merch. Like, we wanted to make merch, and we wanted to make merch on hemp because that's very sustainable. But the issue that happened then was hemp is ridiculously expensive. We cannot make it print on demand. We need to buy it on bulk, or at least that's what the company Swag Central that's making our merch said. They said they have an organic cotton option, and I was like, why not recycled cotton? And they were like, well, it's brittle. And so I was like, wait, organic cotton? Like, I have a whole blog on this on Muses Saga. Do check that out. But essentially, you need to use an organic cotton tote 200 to 2000 times to offset its impact. Right? I mean, a plastic bag which is being reused is more eco friendly. So, in that case, we were like, what do? We don't want to promote plastic because plastic pollution, microplastics, etc. But also, the climate crisis is more of a pressing thing, right? And in the end, the solution we came up with, which I'm very proud of, was circular, right? So now we put out those totes. When you're bored of them, you can give them back to us and get another thrifted tote or some of your money back, right? And then that tote can be used by someone else. And essentially, it's a swap system. It keeps the resources in production longer, and that means the bag will actually maybe not get used up to 2000 times, but it'll actually get a good use, right? And I'm saying these innovations, those are the kind of companies that are actually being sustainable. They understand the nuances of sustainability. They are trying their level best. And those are the kind of companies we can support if we are being realistic about how sustainable a job can be. I mean, there are obviously great companies which check all the eco boxes, but not all of us can work there. And not all of us should work there. We need environmentalists in non-environmental position to talk about environmentalism.